Welcome to Democratic Television, a program of the Santa Clara County Democratic Party that brings insights, perspectives, and attitudes of our always thoughtful Democratic guests. Today we're joined by Alex Wara, the Director of Clubs for the Santa Clara County Democratic Party. Alex, thanks for being on Democratic Television.
Thanks so much for having me today.
Clubs Director, well, we're going to have to figure out what the heck that means. What are clubs? Why are clubs? And get to know you a little bit better. So before we get into your political background, let's get to know you a little bit.
Sounds good.
Where are you from? Are you a Californian? And
yeah, I am. Actually, I grew up in the Central Valley, in Madera, small little town, about 50,000 people. High school, born and raised there. Decided to come to San Jose State just out of high school. Came to San Jose, that's where I really got involved.
Oh.
I had studied journalism when I was there, so I have a journalism degree. And, back in Madera, it's not the most liberal place, pretty conservative, a red county still.
Oh.
But I grew up in a household of a very Republican father and a very liberal Democratic mother.
Yikes.
So, yeah, made for very interesting family dinners, definitely. The youngest of three children, two older brothers, so the only girl. So I would definitely learn how to fight my way through different things in life.
Well, that's great. So when you were going to school, did you have any teachers or advisors or your mom or your dad even that was a role model for you that made you think life can be different, can be better, or some kind of call to service?
Definitely my mom, being the Democrat in the family. We agreed on a lot of things, and my dad was always there to chime in. So at a very, very young age, I was, taught different political views, which I think was very important because I got to see both sides of the political spectrum.
Yeah. Did you have relatives over for dinner and have the political discussions at Thanksgiving that would help inflame your passions?
Oh, every Thanksgiving, we go to my dad's sister's house, and she's a huge, huge Democrat. So my dad was the only Republican in his family.
Yikes.
So always interesting conversations for sure.
What about the climate at school? Was there talk about the larger world? I mean, we have stereotypes of, valley cities and all that, and people are very tuned into the economy and, things aren't going so well, or water issues even then.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of specific issues in different parts of the states that we're all concerned about. And, in the Valley, it's definitely water, especially right now with the huge drought in California. So that's always an issue there. It wasn't until I went to San Jose State where I got a whole lot of different issues that I got to, think about in a broader light. Coming to the Bay Area from the Central Valley kind of changes your views politically.
It certainly can.
Definitely.
What made you want to go to San Jose State specifically? Because it was in San Jose, or?
I wanted to get away. I was one of those typical high school students who wanted to get away from home, but not too far away.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. So you went to San Jose State, and did you choose journalism as a major right off the bat, which makes me think you worked on the yearbook committee when you were in high school, and
oh, definitely.
the newspaper and everything?
Yes, I was on the high school newspaper staff. So I was chasing down stories, thought I was an investigative reporter at the age of 16.
Oh.
So went straight into journalism, and I worked at San Jose State's college newspaper as well.
Oh, okay. So what other kind of folks did you run into at San Jose State? Did you know people when you went there, or a whole new world opened up, or a little of each?
I didn't know anyone in San Jose, and I had never gone to San Jose until I went and toured the campus after I was admitted, yes. So it was definitely a new world for me, but when I got there, I decided to join the college Democrats. I was approached by a friend that I had in a journalism class who had to ask me 3 times to join the club until I finally said, sure, I'll go and check out a meeting. And when I did, it's kind of led me to where I am today.
Well, I bet your mom was proud of you and probably got that phone call, Mom, I found new life at San Jose State.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And probably asking for money in that phone call, as well as every college student does.
Well, yeah, exactly. So You went to San Jose State. You got more involved in Young Dems, College Dems. Was there an organization there that you thought, well, this is pretty cool? Or did you think, this is pretty cool, but I do things a little differently?
Well, I joined the San Jose State Democrats, and at that time they were really involved with the budget cuts that were happening at college campuses, particularly the CSU system. So being involved with the California Faculty Association on that, I was out there marching with students, protesting to lower tuition, to enroll more students locally and statewide. So that really ignited my passion for public service through that club, and I was able to make friends and do social activities.
And I assume, like all freshmen, you lived in the dorms and got able to free yourself of that perhaps after your first year?
Yes, I lived in the dorms for 2 years, and that really, helped me, explore San Jose, get to know the campus. And after that, I moved off campus because I started working full-time in San Jose, summer internships.
Well, let's talk about the internships. Were they political internships or more normal, non-political?
My first internship when I was in San Jose was political. It was with Equality California. So they were working on Proposition 8 for same-sex marriages. So they're interesting enough with most internships. I started as a intern, then a volunteer, then they just start calling you the volunteer coordinator after a while.
Wow. So you got a little taste of organization and how things can happen when things get organized.
Definitely.
Okay. Let's go, at some point you graduated, maybe with honors, who knows? And what did you do next?
From there, I started working in the nonprofit world, AIDS Walk San Francisco. I've always loved working in charity, nonprofit, so I wanted to really try that route. And I did for a summer, and it was great to get a taste of that world. Then, when the internship there ended, I worked for the California Democratic Party, kind of on the finance side of stuff. And, I was a canvasser, so I was out there talking to voters, talking to people. And then from that, I got into the campaign side of stuff and helped run a campaign in 2012.
Oh, okay. Well, which wasn't all that long ago.
Yes.
So what are you doing now? You are in a political office?
Yes, I work.
Or legislative office, I should say.
Yeah, legislative office. I've been there for about 3 years. I work for State Senator Jim Bell.
Jim has a reputation of being very progressive and very much caring about human services and folks that get overlooked. How does that work with you and your values?
Yeah, it's really, really easy to work for Senator Bell because when you have a boss that aligns with your values, you go to work and you're excited and motivated. Taking care of those who can't take care of themselves is kind of the motto in our office that we all try to live by every day.
What kind of constituent work or policy work do you find yourself doing?
We do a lot of constituent services.
And what does that mean exactly? What are some examples of constituent services?
So
what's a constituent?
A constituent is if you live within that person's district. So we have nearly 1 million people that the senator represents. It's a lot of
constituents?
Million constituents.
Yikes.
So that's a lot of people. Could be a lot of phone calls every now and then. But if you have a problem with a state agency, sometimes you hit a lot of walls when you're trying to get something done, you can call us and we can help you out. Let's say, I like to use the DMV as an example. Sometimes you're just not getting your license or you can't get a ticket paid. You can call our office and we can connect you with the right services. And then for policy area, I staff K through 12 education locally.
So what do you do in that capacity? Do you go to school board meetings or look at legislation that's coming down to either improve or hopefully better fund education?
A little bit of both. A lot of it is connecting with the school board members and going to their school board meetings, which can be quite long sometimes. But I really enjoy it, and looking for legislation or hearing about new legislation that needs to happen and relaying that to our Sacramento office and the senator.
And so do you have counterparts in other Senate offices and maybe assembly offices that you connect with in terms of doing your job?
Definitely. Each office has people that work locally and in Sacramento, and the relationships you build with other offices is very important because you kind of work in a team all together.
And are the offices organized by people that have constituent areas? So you have a counterpart in Senator Hill's office or Senator Monning's office? Or
yeah, definitely.
Kind of
and then you end up seeing those people a lot at different events.
Yeah, I bet. So at some point, you also do things outside of work that are still political. You're involved in Young Dems. What is your role in that, and how long have you been involved?
So I am the president of the Young Democrats, and I've been in the club for almost 7 years.
Wow.
So you can be in the club from 14 to 35.
Once you're hit 35, you're no longer young?
Well, you can still hang out with us.
Oh, okay. And what kind of things does your club do?
Our main focus is getting young people involved and getting young people elected into office. We have a lot of ambitious members who run for city council, run for school board. This last election cycle, we had 12 members run for office.
Wow. And so people hear about your club. What is the geographical area? Is it San Jose based? Is it Silicon Valley? Is it county?
It's all of Santa Clara County. We do have Young Democratic chapters kind of in the peninsula and South Alameda, but mostly it's San Jose based. A lot of our members live in San Jose, but we'll take any and every member who wants to join us.
And why would somebody join you? What kind of things do you hear when someone is approaching you to say, what do you guys, why should I join?
Well, I always tell people it's a really good way to get involved, to get a start, and from there we're really passionate about helping connect our members with various campaigns. If we hear about an opening in an office, we have connections, with that office. We'll pass along their resume and say, this is a good person that you might consider interviewing.
So Young Democrats are sort of maybe a progression from campus Democrats.
Definitely.
So you're a San Jose State Dem, then you get out in the real world and you say, oh, I'm a Young Dem, but I'm now a professional or a working person.
Definitely. We try to kind of adopt and mentor our college campuses around us so we can just have them, slide right into our club once they graduate.
Sounds like a good strategy. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, I'd like to talk more about these Democratic clubs. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Clark Williams, and I'm Vice Chair of the Santa Clara County Democratic Party. I'm a lifetime Democratic activist. But there are not enough of us, and I know you're out there, and we need you to join me. I'm also a father, and I'm teaching my 6-year-old daughter to also become a Democratic activist. She needs some friends to join us too. So if you're out there and you've got kids and you're looking for something fun to do on a weekend, we really need you to come join us in helping elect Democrats in 2010. To find us or to learn more, contact area code 408-445-9500. Or you can also find us on the web at www.sccdp.org. I hope to see you soon on the campaign trail.
Welcome back to Democratic Television. Today we're speaking with Alex Wara, the Director of Clubs for the Santa Clara County Democratic Party. That sounds like an ominous responsibility. As we were mentioning before our break, fortunately, you've had experience with one club. You're the current chair of the Young Democrats, which is a county-wide club with affiliates here and there. And you say you have the club in part to bring people into the Democratic Party. How do you guys do that? Do you have like parties and wine tastings and that has an appeal, or?
So we do monthly, we do membership meetings to handle business, but on top of that, we do a lot of social activities. So, we'll go out and go to happy hour. Some clubs, I know that one of the clubs does a book club every couple months, so they'll read a book together. And the Young Dems, we try to make it as fun as we can because we know that, going to the general membership meetings aren't always the most fun, but we try to have movie nights, watch the State of the Union, do different political things or just social activities together.
So people sometimes meet people and relationships are born and families are made and all kinds of things can happen in a club.
Definitely. I guess I'm a good example of that. I've met my boyfriend through a Democratic club, so you can find love even at these club meetings.
Sounds good. So you are now not just the chair of one club, you're the director of all the clubs. Mm-hmm. So what are the array of clubs in the Democratic Party?
Well, we have about 17 clubs here locally in the local party, and there's a variety of clubs. So there's, regional clubs, so it could be city, so, you have a Sunnyvale Democratic Club, or it can be more regional based, like the Young Democrats. Here, we take everyone from the county. It can be issue based. It can be, we have a gender club, Dawn, Democrat Activists for Women Now. They're really focused on getting women involved in politics, equal pay for equal work. And there's some clubs, the Dean Democratic Club, they're based in specific issues, turning, red counties to blue. So there's a variety of options out there. So if someone's looking to join a club, there's probably one that fits your needs and what you like to do.
So I know the Democratic Party does have a monthly meeting and people from the different clubs come to that. I've always thought that if you want to be an active Democrat, really the clubs are the way to go because there's something there for everybody, as you just suggested.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good way to get involved, to figure out what's going on locally. And like I said, they can be a lot of fun. Some clubs meet at people's houses, they do potlucks. Some people will meet a little more formally, different places in cities. But it's a variety of ways to get involved. Mm-hmm. And it's a good way to meet people socially as well.
So the big issue I assume clubs get involved in are political issues. Campaigns, we're getting ready for the 2016 season, and yet every 2 years there's elections at the local level, city, school board, special districts, board of soups and all that. So do you find clubs playing roles in those kinds of activities?
I think they're probably one of the most important parts of that activity. They go out and register voters. That's what they'll do usually on an off-year election locally and even statewide. Some of our clubs travel to go register voters in the state. They also get involved and do endorsements for different candidates here locally. So they'll go out and walk precincts, which means you go talk to your neighbors about voting for this person, go out and make phone calls, different campaign methods of getting someone elected. So that's what our clubs are, really the base of activities in the Democratic Party.
Now you mentioned that your club, the Young Democrats, had a number of people that actually ran for office themselves. Mm-hmm. So do people find a club as a springboard perhaps? They can meet a cadre of people, maybe meet up with people with special fundraising or organizational skills?
Yeah, a great way to do that if you are exploring public services, to get involved in one of the clubs. And that's where we see a lot of our local council members where they started. Raul Perales is a great example in the San Jose City Council. He was a member of the Young Democrats before he ran, and we were able to help him along the way by sending volunteers his way when he was running, hosting fundraisers for him. So that's just one example. But even if you don't want to run for office specifically, there's also boards and commissions that you can get involved in, and that usually, you can find out about those positions through the clubs.
Now, what are boards and commissions?
So those are usually through the city. So it's a variety of lots and lots of different commissions and boards, housing, seniors, whatever you like to do. There's probably a commission that fits it.
And what do the commissions do?
They meet typically monthly, and they'll make decisions and make recommendations to the city or the county, whichever commission
So they
you're
can
on.
Be advisory boards, and their meetings are scheduled and subject to the Brown Act and all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
They're real things.
Definitely.
And then people sometimes go from being on a planning commission to city council, or at least make that attempt.
Yeah, and that happens quite often, actually.
So that gives me a good reason to want to get involved in a club. What if I'm somebody who doesn't have that kind of aspiration, but I like politics? I know you mentioned you work for an elected official, and I imagine a lot of others do too.
Yeah, it's also a good way to network, especially with your elected officials or the offices in the area. You can go and meet your senator, meet your assembly member. You can, meet council members. Just at different club activities, they typically have speakers that are elected officials that come, and you can talk one-on-one with them.
So let me ask you, you're pretty clearly, in my mind, a young person, not just because you're in that club. What do you think it takes to get young people involved in politics, to pay attention and to say my vote does count? Because that's something that we're really concerned about. We see less participation in the voting process.
Mm-hmm. I think it's about finding, the right issues that someone can get motivated about, ignite that passion, whether that be equal pay for equal work, education is a big one, student tuition, even a candidate. Look at the 2008 election with President Obama. That really got a lot of young people involved. So we have to keep identifying different candidates and different issues that young people want to see change. Change in the world is what young people want to see.
Well, so you want to get them hooked into it. Hooked may not be the best word, but somehow involved and have a sense of ownership in their community.
Definitely.
And then you suggested earlier people go door to door, they speak to their neighbors, they try to get traction going. Is there a network of young Dem organizations, you said in the county, but larger than that, throughout the state and at a state level?
Yes, the California Young Democrats, they kind of are the umbrella organization for all the Young Democrat chapters in the state. Recently, our club was just named the top chapter for the state.
Oh, wow.
So I'll brag about that a little bit.
Well, you have a right to.
But every so often we'll come together at different conferences and talk about what young people want to see and, what's going on in the different regions and different parts of the state so that we could be connected on a larger level rather than just here locally.
And do you guys share, this is what's working in my area, this is not working? And
Definitely, and a lot of it is part, the Central Valley Democrats or the counties that are a little more red and conservative. We like to hear what they're saying, and sometimes we'll do campaign invasions to try to win back a seat that, it's a Democrat and Republican running against each other, and it's a chance to flip it back to Democrat. A lot of young Dems will travel and do invasions for that particular
So
time.
They'll just get in their cars and show up at a 9:30 precinct walk?
It's what we do.
Oh.
If it's whatever it takes to win.
Well, that's great. What about fundraising? Is that a big part of what either your club or other clubs do? Because that's got to be hard.
Fundraising's definitely tough. But a lot of clubs will host house parties or fundraisers for a particular candidate, bring in their friends and family. It could be low-level donation to really high donation, but it's a good way, and that's another way to participate if you can't go out and walk precincts or phone bank, is to make a donation to a candidate. It goes a long way.
We are getting, this is 2015, but it seems like 2016 is certainly knocking on the door. Do you think young people are going to come forward like they did in President Obama's first campaign or second campaign? Do you feel like the issues are there? There's enough charisma in our Democratic candidates?
I think there is, and I think the conversations are already starting. Even in the middle of the year before we actually start ramping up for the presidential election, the Democratic Party is going to have a great nominee. The Republican side, they have a lot of candidates running, but I don't think they're be able to compete with the Democratic side. So the excitement's there. It's getting, going on college campuses and getting people involved to get behind a certain candidate.
Now, I heard a rumor that you guys might be starting a speakers bureau so that you can have people available to go speak to classes or whatever. Is that something that you guys like to find people that are willing to speak? And
yeah, we're always looking for anyone who's willing to go out there in the community or talk to high school classes about their passion for politics and how they can get involved.
That sounds like a good thing to do. They don't get erasers thrown at them, do they?
I don't think we even have erasers in school
yeah, it's been a while. So how would I learn more about the clubs in Santa Clara County? Do you have a website to refer people to?
Yeah, our website is sccdp.org, or you can even contact me directly as the director of clubs. And my email address is waralex1@gmail.com.
So it's your last name, first name, then number one, which sounds like a confidence inducing number. That sounds great. And what do the clubs need to do to become a club? What if I have an idea? I want to start a club because I'm a small business person. What would I do?
Well, I would recommend you reach out to me directly, and then I can sit down with you and we can talk about the vision of your club and, you know, what you want to do here locally. And then it's, you know, just need to find 20 people that aren't already in a club here locally, and then, you know, have bylaws and, you know, do some paperwork. But then it's pretty simple to start a club if you're really motivated about it.
So just 20 people, I could maybe get my neighbors.
Yeah.
After I find whether there's a club in my area, and if there's not, or if I want to, you know, work on reforming healthcare, I could figure out a way to either find a club that's doing that or somehow make it happen.
Definitely, there's always room in the Democratic Party.
Well, that sounds pretty exciting. There's always stuff to do. Do you never take vacations because there's so much to do?
Maybe my vacations are doing those invasions.
Oh, that's so sweet. What a great answer. And so I bet your parents are proud of you. Even your dad's got to be proud of you. He may not agree, but his daughter's doing cool stuff.
Definitely. I want to be able to do it without them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that sounds really exciting. It sounds like Democrats have a great organizer in you to help them find what it is that they need to blossom. Well, thank you very much for being on Democratic television, and good luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching Democratic television. Give us a call at 408-445-9500 or visit our website, sccdp.org, and help make a difference like Alex has. And we'll see you on the campaign trail.